Hello YouTube, JP here. Thank you for joining us. Made a few notes here on this one. Basically, this video was JP on Brexit. Widely talked about by the many, and I just wanted to give you my take on Brexit, what it means to me, how I feel, the way I feel, etc. Let's look at the vote itself. Back in 1973, Britain, or the people, voted to be in the single market. They didn't vote to be handing over their laws to European courts, for instance. Yeah, that just happened. Yeah, so the people voted back then, just like they voted now. Now, we live in this democratic, free society, or we'd like to think so, but now what's happening? Excuse me. Now what's happening? We're looking at big debates at the taxpayers' cost. So there's debates going on. Now they want a second referendum and all the rest of it. So, I mean, where does this end? I mean, I ask myself this, where does it end? I mean, right or wrong, in or out, whatever you voted, as many of us voted, you know, we voted and the majority have spoken out. And now they want another referendum, which is a complete disgrace to any democratic society. Now they want another referendum, etc. What next? Paper, scissors, stone? Best of three? Where does it end? Where does it end? Okay, so moving on, let's look at these debates themselves, and there's a huge amount of scare tactics coming out of this as well, and this is just what I see. You might see it yourself, you might not. Let's look at this warning of rising costs, etc. Yeah, it will. I can guarantee, in or out, we are facing rising costs, as we do pretty much daily anyway. There are people in this country who are debating whether to stick the heating on, turn the lights on, or feed the kids beans on toast. But them in the glass towers can't see that. They can't see it because they don't feel it. They can switch the heating on, they can switch the light on, they can feed the kids whatever, because they're well paid. They're well paid. But there are people on much less money who are feeling this pinch, this rising of costs. You know, it's like shopping 5 years ago, X, Y and Z, now shopping now, same amount of money, you're like, oh well, half the shopping's gone, I guarantee it. So you got the rising costs, electricity, gas, it's all rising. It's all, they get you hooked, yeah, we'll cap your price, yeah, until you're over that cap, and then boom, gone. You know, as soon as you pass that gap promise, which we won't raise it for a year, as soon as you pass that, your prices are going up and you know it. Petrol, diesel on the forecourts. This is a tactical tool used by people, lowered and raised as and when, to get the people hooked. Oh, the fuel prices are this under us, you stay with us, X, Y and Z. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I was moaning about the fuel costs the other day and someone said, no, they're down. And I went out there and they had been lowered again, so I don't know what's going on, but they're being raised and lowered to see fit. What have we got now? £55 million a day. This is why I voted to leave the EU. Britain spends £55 million a day to be in the EU. And what are we getting for our money? What are we actually getting for our money? We get EU subsidies, and they are great. I mean, Wales is heavily subsidised. The farmers are subsidised. There's subsidies for schools, everything. So they're good. They're really good. But looking at that under the microscope, they're giving us some of our money back, and we're supposed to be grateful for that. Out. That's what I say. EU law and fishing quotas and everything. This happened recently, and I'm sure you'll agree. The EU law stated that our fishermen could fish a certain water at a certain time of year under a certain quota, and that's what they did. They went out to go and fish their quota, and what happened? It was all over the news. French trawlers rammed the British trawlers. Acts of violence. Imagine Mr. Jones driving through Paris. Oh, there's a Frenchman, bang, knocking him over. That is a bad thing, by the way, so please don't take that as literal, what I'm saying. You know, that's just as wrong as the captain of a French trawler ramming into a British trawler. That's just as wrong as knocking someone over in the street, and they know it, you know it, and I know it. So, I mean, what happened to them Did they get done? I don't know, because it seems to have been miraculously disappeared. So there's that. So yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about it. I feel strongly about it. But in the words of the Prime Minister herself, no deal is better than a bad one. And my message to them out there is take some careful consideration on this, because this has the power to rip our country into little tiny pieces, and I think it's already started doing it. That's just my take on Brexit. That's how I feel. There are people there that will think differently. I might have converted some people. I don't know. Yeah, please, let's have your comments, good or bad. Either way, I'm open to them. You might educate me on some certain things. But anyway, thanks for tuning in now. Cheers now. Bye bye.